Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome to this exclusive first look at 2 Point Museum. Huge thank you to 2 Point Studios for letting me taking a look at this game and bringing it to you today. I was able to spend the best part of a day with the game and I'm able to show you some of the highlights here. And highlights there are aplenty. I'm a big fan of 2 Point Studios. In an age where content management system games seem to be suffering a little bit with difficult second album syndrome, 2 Point Studios seem to be just getting their heads down and bringing us some pretty solid games, with nobody else being able to produce a solid core gameplay loop with space for creativity and their expert brand of British sarcastic humour. They came running out of the gates with 2 Point Hospital, a spiritual successor to Theme Hospital, and really nailing that one and hitting it out of the park. I personally felt like they struggled a little bit with their sequel 2 Point Campus, but that's mostly because I wasn't particularly interested in the subject matter. But from what I've seen so far from 2 Point Museum, this is absolutely a return to form, with museums offering both a really fantastic gameplay loop and plenty of material for them to get their satirical humour claws into. In the version I played, we started in a demo museum that was based around the prehistory theme. So think fossils and dinosaurs, all with a 2 Point twist. Giant footprints, two-headed dinosaurs, and cavemen trapped in ice are all placed down after discovering them from the expeditions. The expeditions side of the game is a little mini-game where you apply staff and other bonuses, send them out on a mission and hope they come back with something you are looking for. This could be a brand new exhibit, it could be one you've already discovered, in which case you can sell it, or it could be part of a multi-level exhibit such as the dinosaur bones, very often having 3, 4 or 5 parts needed to complete the set. Gameplay wise, this is a very satisfying loop, going out and finding new exhibits, then placing them into the museum and decorating them accordingly with stuff that you can just buy out of the catalogue like you would buy any other material in these games. Towards the end of my playthrough, the expeditions did start to feel a little repetitive, but I feel like I've only really scratched the surface of what is able to be done in them. Occasionally you would have a pop-up that plays similar to a choose-your-own-adventure game where you have to decide on which way you want your staff to deal with the exhibit. And none of the expeditions took particularly long, so whilst they were out doing it, you never really felt like you were hanging around. Always something else to do in the museum, such as set up all of the ancillary things like gift shops, restrooms, and interactive displays. After learning the ropes in the prehistory museum, we moved over to a second museum, but this one was more of an aquarium. Here you're building large tanks similar to how you would build rooms in the previous games, fitting them out with various coral and foliage before sending your marine specialists out on expeditions to bring back fish. Whilst it was really great fun to decorate the tanks, I feel like I've only scratched the surface of this, pardon the pun. In some of their promotional material you can see really developed different aquariums and types of fish. In this playthrough I maybe saw 2 or 3 different types of fish and they were all relatively small tropical fish, but still it was very satisfying to have the tank all fleshed out and then bringing fish in for people to start to visit. There were other underwater ruins and Atlantis style statues that we could place down here as well. Where we really saw that 2 Point shine was in the third museum, which is the paranormal theme. Here you can send out your experts onto expeditions to bring in various spooky exhibits, including this haunted doll who constantly follows your eye line no matter where you are. It's such a nice little touch. It's genuinely a little creepy. All of the exhibits generate buzz, which in turn turns into donations, and you increase the buzz of exhibits by researching them more. In some cases you can actually improve the exhibits themselves, or you can place decorations that fit within the theme around them to generate higher buzz. And some of them have specific individual things. This haunted doll, for instance, generated a higher buzz if you named it. So if you go in and actually give her a creepy, spooky doll name like Annabelle or whatever, they you actually get more of your buzz points off the back of it. But the supernatural theme isn't just placing down spooky bookcases and scary dolls. Much like how you can place down aquariums and have fish in them, here you can create these ectoplasmic cells and have actual ghosts in them. The ghosts will live out their afterlife in the rooms, and you have to make sure that you have stuff to keep them happy in their afterlife, else they will break out and start to haunt the museum. There are different ghosts from different eras, and they require different things in their rooms to keep them happy, such as these old-fashioned ghosts needing gramophones and fireplaces. There really is a lot to love here, and I genuinely look forward to being able to playing the game more. The core gameplay loop of sending sending out your staff onto expeditions to bring back good quality museum pieces and then placing them down, decorating them and generating the donations from them to keep the place up and running is really quite satisfying, and it works much better in my opinion than the campus mechanic of basically building the building and letting it run for a year while the students worked through their school year. Here you feel like there's always something to do, you can always be tweaking things, but no point, even when these museums got pretty busy, did I ever feel overwhelmed. I always felt like I had a good idea of what I was trying to do, trying to accomplish, and when I could ease up a little bit on decorating and instead focus on the core management loop, which really is there and feels very chunky. I won't lie, I am a little bit spoilt by the Planet games, having full 3D movement on the scenery pieces and no collision and really being able to go to town on those. Here you are a little bit limited in the pieces that you're given to create space out of. I really hope that a lot of these things are fleshed out, especially in the aquariums, for instance. I would like a dozen different plants I could place down rather than the 1 or 2 that I was given in this demo. There are numerous wallpaper and floor pieces, but I feel like a lot of them don't necessarily match the themes that we've got here. I would really like to see 4 or 5 different spooky wallpapers, for instance, or 4 or 5 different Atlantis style wallpapers for the aquarium, as opposed to the relatively geometric and modern color palettes that they have in the game at the moment. Even in this early build, I didn't really come across any bugs. I had a slight issue where my gift shop and my front counters weren't very well staffed, but I don't know whether that was just me not using my staff rotors to the best advantage, or if it was a bit of an issue with the game. But other than that, the game ran incredibly well and looks kind of beautiful. The lighting engine is much more improved on the others. You have these beautiful reflections in the shiny floors, and the lighting ambience that comes from the aquariums and the ghost rooms is really quite beautiful. In this version of the game that I got to play, the 3 styles that we currently have in the game, the prehistory, the aquatic, and the supernatural, were all very divided, each of them being in their own museum. But we do know from press releases that there are going to be places where that they can get mixed. In fact, there's the examples they show of an aquatic expert going out into the prehistory zone of the expeditions and coming back with aquatic skeletons. There's also a spooky fish that they showed off called the Swim Reaper that you can get by sending a paranormal expert out into the aquarium land and so on and so forth. They mix together. I'm hoping that we either have a huge sandbox mode, which I'm sure we will, or later levels in the career mode are letting you mix those themes. Because whilst it is very fun to build all these individual museums, you know me, I'm going to want to build a huge museum with different wings and each wing having its own theme. There are more themes to come as well. These are just the 3 we know about so far. There are going to be more in the base game, and then obviously this really lends itself to DLC in the future as well, where they can keep adding more and more themes with gameplay loops around them. But so far, so great. I'm very much excited to play more of this. In fact, I will be live streaming this build very soon as well. So if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that. 2 Point Museum is a solid management game with lots of room for creativity and oozing with that 2 Point style. I'm very excited for the full release in March of next year. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until the next one, be good.